Hey everybody, Lance here at From the Line to the Sign, and we're going to kick off this first of Line Cook 101 with the age-old question of culinary school. Is it worth it? Is it not? So let's talk about it. It'll be kind of like a, somewhat frank conversation for those of you that are out there kind of weighing your options and seeing if that's the right choice for you or not. Um, so who's this for? This is for you guys that are just getting started, maybe you really like cooking, maybe you're looking at this as a career, um, and thinking about attending culinary school, and you haven't started work, or a cook on the line that has some experience or even significant experience that's wondering if it's the right move for them to go into school. I came home from Iraq and I started cooking, 39, 40 years old. Um, didn't have um, didn't really have the ability to go to school. It's like I had a kid and I was working full time, and had a kid in high school. So it's not like I could just move off to San Antonio and go to the CIA there, or a community college or anything like that. It just really wasn't a an option. And I wound up going to culinary school. I took an online course and it was amazing. I took one with August Escoffier School of Culinary Arts, but I was already an executive chef at the time. That was a great move for me because of everything that I learned. I mean, now I'm owning my own restaurant, working on one more, maybe, maybe two more. So you know, just see. I have to acknowledge the noise about this because in social media land, there is a ton of line cook groups and uh, you know, restaurant employee groups and the chef groups, and there's a whole lot of people that are out there, those social media chefs that, love to dunk on uh, culinary school people. Um, so let's cut through it. Let's see where it's at, because I mean that argument that, somebody out of school is or somebody that's been to school is never any good. They're just like somebody that thinks they're going to come out and become a chef. I've never found that to be true. It's like in all the places that I've been and all the people that I've worked around, and seen people come in fresh from school with very little experience, maybe just, a few stages or externship or something like that. I've never had one come in and just, oh, I'm a chef. You're going to call me chef. I graduated culinary school. Like literally zero times has that ever happened. I've had absolute buffoons, with limited experience in a culinary degree come in and just not be good, not be ready, and frankly, like not cut out for the industry. I've seen that happen. I've also seen seasoned line cooks with, you know, 5, 8, 10 years on their resume of experience come in and be absolute buffoons in the kitchen too. It's like I've seen very experienced people with no school and a ton of experience not be able to hack it in a real kitchen. Because they've gained a lot of that experience at, rip open a bag and feed it into Chef Mike, push a couple of beep beep boop boop buttons, and that's how they cook. So I don't think that school is the mitigating factor there. I think that's just attitude and professionalism, and I think it's all just BS on the Facebook message boards and groups and things like that, or where you see people just crapping on people for going to culinary school or acting like there's something wrong with somebody doing it. So pros. School teaches you business, not just food. It is a you're going to learn the fundamentals in culinary school. You're going to learn your basic knife cuts. You're going to learn the mother sauces. You're going to learn, you know, all the basics of butchery and all those things. But it's also going to teach you a ton about the business. It's going to teach you business skills, restaurant design, marketing, social media management, personnel issues, budgeting, costing, how to read a P&L and L and a balance sheet. You know, it's going to do a lot of these things. It's going to go through, you know, how to calculate your COGS, your waste percentages, profit margins. You know, those are the things that when you become um, an executive level chef, or even if you're a sous chef, you better start learning all that stuff. That's because you are not going to be able to functionally rise up any further than you have if you don't deeply understand that that business side of things. And to be honest, like if you don't get any of that, you have no business owning your own restaurant, let alone running one for somebody else that's paying you good money to do that. And they probably won't. So I mean, there's a good pro for school is learning all that business and marketing and all the stuff that's not cooking. Because I mean, you can be the best cook in the room and run a restaurant straight into the ground without knowing business. You know, they say that, you know, 93 or 95% of restaurants close within the first year or two, and then, you know, another good percentage of that never lives to see its third or fourth or fifth birthday. Um, so, uh, so yeah, uh, business education is a good thing. Um, it's just if you're going to hang that sign that we're talking about, you know, you got to understand the numbers. You never stop needing to grow as cooks. You know, it's we should be learning every day. We should be grabbing every single opportunity out there that we can to learn more about this craft. Not just about cooking and techniques and different types of, you know, molecular stuff or sous videing or pit smoking. You know, like uh, learning about barbecue or learning about, you know, service or learning about wine or learning about, you know, all these things. You know, there's the information is always key, you know. And even, you know, when I went to Escoffier, I was already running a kitchen, you know. So I mean, I was working, I was learning. Um, I was I was in that position to where I needed knowledge and I was getting knowledge all the time. And that's also learning how to be a better cook at the time, like hands-on cook. You know, I'm going through the cookbooks and I'm going through the videos and I'm watching shows and I'm reading and I'm listening to podcasts and going on podcasts and talking with people about this stuff and training people and learning from people that I'm training. You know, it's um that that daily grind of the kitchen, you know, I mean, it can really um kind of it can kind of stunt your growth if you get caught up in just the day to day instead of really taking the opportunity to just learn and learn and learn some more. So, you know, the other things in school you'll learn, you know, a lot of the history about cooking, a lot of the terminology, a lot about what things are called, what that's called, what's this, you know, if I go in and ask you to cut a bâtonnet or, you know, or you should know how to do that. So, the foundation of our craft, like where it comes from, like the cooks that came before us, going all the way back to, you know, almost ancient now, but you know, people like Escoffier, people like Carême, people, you know, just um, really classic cooks in areas that you're interested in, you know, and knowing all that classic stuff, it makes you better. You know, it's going to school and getting the reps in. I mean, that's and working in the kitchen. You know, when you're learning, um, that'll make you faster. You know, but the school and the learning aspect of it is really what makes you better. You know, because you can be fast as hell, and never grow from that. You know, we call those CLCs. You know, the career line cooks that just get in there and they're fast, they're efficient. You know, they can run a cutting board, maybe better than I can, but they'll never climb above that station, you know. And talking about working, there's flexibility in education now that's it's never been better, like I said, August Escoffier, where I went, online school, it is a so when I went to that school, it was like a big joke online. People like, you can't go to culinary school online, and I'm like, dude, we've been doing this out of books for hundreds of years. It's like you're telling me you can't learn out of a book. You know, um, that's how we transferred information from one to the next to the next to the next to the next. In that school, for instance, and this is by no means a commercial for them, although I've made commercials for them because I believe in that school. Um, and I think that the brick and mortar schools are great. I mean, if you can afford to do it, if you can take on the debt, or if you can pay for it with, I don't know, grandma left you a suitcase full of money. Um, if you can do that, sure, and not have to work, and you know pay for your housing and do all that for a year or two while you go to school. I mean, more power to you. A lot of us can't do that, so um, and that's the position I was in back then. So the online program looked great, and it was one of those things where I was kind of hesitant myself about it. So I started doing my research, and that's kind of one of those things is just look into who's behind these things. And I found out that the executive chef of the school at the time, Chef Graham, he was a mentor of one of my early mentor chefs, that I worked with and who taught me a lot hands on. And I asked him, and he goes, dude, if he's involved in it, it's legit, because that guy is legit. And so I bit and I took it and I loved it. It was a great course. I got to you submit your when you're doing your cooking at home or in the restaurant you're working in or whatever, and you're taking pictures of stuff. Look, everybody's like, you can't taste a picture. Dude, taste is subjective. Like you could post up a picture. Uh, you could send me a picture, post it up in the community page here on school, and I can tell you if the technique's there. I can tell you if the knife cuts are on point. I can tell you if it was cooked properly. I can tell you if the sear on it's nice. I can tell if your pan was too hot. I can tell if you didn't use enough oil. I can tell if you overdressed your garnish. I can tell everything by looking at that picture, minus the taste. And taste is subjective. And anybody that's coming out of culinary school that thinks they're going to go jump on a line and just present their dish to the masses, that's not a thing. You're going to be working for somebody. And that is who's going to control your taste, your palate as a young cook, as a new chef, even as a line cook coming up. Your palates your palates are largely irrelevant, other than learning what your chef likes. Um, it's one of the hardest things to do, and all of my cooks and chefs, they know my palate. My sous chef could make he can make food that you could not tell was not mine. It's so he's got my palate dialed in so well. So I mean, like the online thing, not being able to taste it, totally irrelevant. And think about um, online online education being legitimate. I mean, dude, go look at the master classes. You've got Thomas Keller on there. You've got Aaron Franklin on there teaching barbecue. You've got Nancy Silverton on there teaching classes. You've got Jose Andres on there. You've got Granda and like all these Michelin level chefs that are teaching you this stuff. Um, it's legit. The format works, and the time for bagging on it is long gone. So um, you know, yeah, the end. So what else do we get out of school? I'll step off my soapbox for the online learning. You're learning online right now. You're learning online. I mean, granted, this isn't a food-based course. This is a professional-based course, but still, you're learning online. From school, let's see, where was I? Networking. Oh, dude. And opening up doors. Your instructors, alumni, people that you went to school with, the people that you meet doing externships. Um, these relationships that you form will be with you forever. I was literally, I talked about Graham a second ago, Chef Graham. He's moved on and is doing some other things on the other side of the world, and we were just talking earlier today. Um, was just talking with in the last week. I think I've talked with three or four of my different chef instructors from when I was in culinary school. 10 10 plus years ago. All the students, we still keep in touch. Externships, when you meet people, you go out when you're working on your externship, or like me, as I host externships for culinary schools at my restaurants. So, you're going to go out, you're going to meet cooks, you're going to net, and the culinary world is small, man. Like, it's a lot smaller than it looks. Like, outside of the chain joints and the big box restaurants, like when you get in the actual culinary world where it's um you're working with actual chef owned joints, and the world is very small. So knowing this one person could seriously open up a door that could change your entire career. So networking alone is great. I think that covers that pretty good. Let's go cons. Uh Debt, man. Debt's real. Um debt is real. Um Oh God, that's it took years for me to get out of debt from, I mean, I've gone to college twice and culinary school, and you know, the wages, and this is something for another, diving into what wages are when you're starting as a cook, but entry level, around the country, you know, $15 an hour to $18 an hour. You get into some cities and it may be a little bit more than that. And now with the post-COVID world, when you get to be an established line cook, I mean, you can get in the cities, you can get in the the low 20s, or and you get to where you're a party or a sous. I mean, you can get up there pretty good. But for those first few years, um, or at least the first year, you're not going to be making a lot of money. And there's no reason that you should be. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. But restaurants, I always tell people, is the last great. It's the last great apprenticeship opportunity. Servers may walk out with a handful of cash at the end of the night, but how many servers do you see open their own restaurants? Not many. Unless you're Will Guidara or Danny Meyer or somebody like that that really is so deeply involved in the service aspect that they're going to jump out there and partner up with a chef and then go do some cool stuff. Or some hospitality group type people that are, you're going to have a culinary guy, you're going to have a service guy, whatever. But long story short is, as a cook, as a blossoming cook, you are going to have the opportunity to get in there and learn and work your way up to owning your own place and doing your own thing. And that is something that's missing in a lot of trades nowadays. Um, those wages, um, it's going to be really tough to pay. If you go to one of the big schools, if you go to a CIA, which is Culinary Institute of America, if you go to one of those in Hyde Park or San Antonio or oh God, I call it Hogwarts out in Napa. I think they call it Greystone. But I got to cook out there and in the CIA in Napa once, and it's an amazing facility. But those amazing facilities, Johnson and Wales, places like that. I mean, those facilities, you're going to walk out of there with a lot of debt. And if you come out of there just, say 60, 80,000 in school debt, as soon as you get out there and that repayment cycle kicks in on those federal student loans, like, and the interest starts stacking up, like, they'll get crazy quick on a $15 an hour salary. So it's a rough equation. So that's definitely something to think about. But look at your options. Look at what you can do. Look at community colleges locally. If you can go to um, if you can go to school, full time, or if you're still in high school, by all means, look at your high school probably has a trade center that will have a culinary program, so that don't cost you anything. Um, so look at all your options, for school. The online you can look at Escoffier, you can look at I'm surprised nobody else has started one yet, but let's see other cons. We kind of talked about this a little bit. People coming out and the rumors of people that acting like um, they're a chef because they got a piece of paper and they're not. A diploma does not make you a chef. Um, School teaches you, like how to learn. Um, it teaches you how to process information and how to retain it and how to be tested on by it. Um, the kitchen teaches you how to perform. So I mean, it's that's the real day one. And the time that I spent at high end restaurants in Dallas, FT33 and Machalayo and even Sear. Sear was this, I guess still is, top of Hilton Anatole in Dallas, big bougie, quintessential Texas steakhouse. They shaped me a lot. This is after I graduated. That's kind of the direction that I went was out that way to, I stepped back from being an exec, and I actually after school went back to work as a line cook. So it's like I took a huge pay hit, and went back, and I just found great people to work for. Because I realized after getting all that business experience and that I wanted to go learn more and better myself in the kitchen. So after graduating culinary school, I actually took a step back and wanted to learn more because I was in that learning space. Um, but that culinary certificate or that diploma definitely doesn't buy you any cred. But I would say that without a doubt, that diploma that I got, probably opened some doors uh, that could have remained shut to me just by just that one extra thing. I had some good experience. I had some talent. I would do stage, go and stage for these places or do tasting tests where you'd have to go in and create, a 3 or 4 course dinner, tasting menu dinner. But when it comes down to it, it's competitive, man. Especially when you get in the cities with a good food scene like Dallas, um, it's very competitive. There's people lining up for those jobs. So every little thing that you have that separates you and makes you a better candidate than the other person, do it. You know. But I mean, even with all that, like just thinking about Dallas and working on, stepping back and being a line cook. Some of those people that some of those cooks that you're working next to on the line who never went to school, they still very well may outcook you day in and day out. I work with some absolute beasts in those kitchens. So you get that degree, you get that diploma. Stay humble, like um, what else? Look into the programs. Look into if you're looking around at those different culinary schools or whatever. Do your research. Look at their accreditation. Look at the real world experience. Look up the chefs that are teaching there. Look at what they have online. Look at what they have in the social media space because that's going to be part of your alumni networking system when you're done. It's like I still have my alma mater always involved in my social media. They'll tag me up and stuff or share things or so look at it. Look at what their externship programs are. Look at where you can go. Look at if they have standing relationships with great restaurants. That they could get you into. Um, but I mean, in all honesty, if you're going to go to a culinary school and it's some podunk community college culinary school or um, you know, Joe Bob's Culinary School or whatever, I think even a bad program is probably worse than no program at all. I mean, you're learning. Every little thing is learning. I mean, now if you take a huge slap a huge price tag on that, then that's a different story. But the key point being is go learn. Everything that you can. Um, like kind of the timing of when you want to go. Like it was a little weird for me to go when I was already an exec, but I just wanted to do that for me. I wanted to check that box for myself. Um, but if you're going to go to and it's really something that I don't know. Just going to school before you ever worked on a line, like before you ever um, step foot in a kitchen, that's like learning music theory without ever having picked up a guitar. I mean, it's kind of strange to me, in that's a huge investment of money and effort to not even know if you're going to like it when you get out. Because I've seen people do that. I've seen people go to school and be gung ho, and then they come out and they work and they fail. They don't fit in at the first place that they're at, and they just quit. They go, this isn't for me. Um, so I would definitely say, get some real kitchen time first. Even if it is like one of those, that I kind of bag on a little bit from time to time, that the chef Mike joints, the big chains or big box restaurants, or even fast food, man. Like, I started as a teenager working in fast food restaurants before I moved to regular restaurants before I went to the military. So, just go get a taste for it first. See if you like it. See if you like the people. See if you like the vibe. See if you like all the prepping and the cleaning and everything that comes along with that job. I mean, it's because I mean, in all reality, you're a janitor that cooks. I mean, because like the major amount of your time is spent cleaning and making sure that everything's sanitary and spotless and beautiful. So go see if you like it first. Because I think if you do that and you get a year or two of experience and then you go to school, it just clicks. Like it just puts itself right together. Um, let's see, ethic, you know, uh, like work ethic is so important in this industry, and school isn't gonna save you if you've got bad work ethic. It'll sort you out fast. I mean, like I said, I've had people come in with great credentials and just have bad work ethic. So, if you're not one that, like I said, likes to work, likes to clean, likes to give it 1,000,000%, find a different line of work. Because this isn't really for you. Um, I had that discipline from the military, and I had that work ethic from the military. That was all kind of my secret weapon, and school just really amplified those skills that I think that I already had. So, bottom line, and you guys let me know how you like this thing. If you like this long format to where we can kind of really go in and talk about it, I really want to give you guys the lowdown on this. Like I said, real chef, real restaurant. This isn't one of those polished, um, you know, guy in a Ferrari that's going to tell you how to, make 30% on your restaurant. I'm going to tell you how to be successful in this industry because I have been. I'm not asking you for money for it. Like this line cook program, the base learning is completely free. So, and it's going to stay that way. There's never going to be a day that I go, hey, we're going to start charging for line cook 101. We get to sous chef and exec and open in your own restaurant, yeah, I'm gonna charge for that. But line cook, this is it, man. And I want you guys to talk about this and ask questions in the community tab. But my verdict on all this is I absolutely recommend culinary school, as long as you have realistic expectations of what that school is going to get you. So culinary school, yes, 100%, but with your eyes wide open. You know, it's a tool in a toolbox. Um, it's gotta include real kitchen experience, um, mentorship, working with people in the kitchen and in school and in online schools. I mean, we had a lot of different workshops and labs and opportunities to. I mean, when I was in online culinary school, Curtis Duffy taught us how to break down fish. Curtis Duffy, the Michelin star guy up in Chicago, like the dude's amazing. Taught us how to break down salmon, like um, so mentorship both in the virtual space and in the physical space. So, it's like I want to be a mentor to you guys here, and then that business literacy, like get good at it, because and it the goal of all of us cooking professionally and for this community is to bridge all those gaps, from your first line cook job um, to hanging your own sign, So I really think that school can accelerate that journey, um, but it just, it can't really replace the journey itself. So combine it all together, and you've got a whole career to learn in. So get started now. So um, let's have discussion in the comments, in the community tab. Like just tag me up in there. Like I said, real dude. That's if I don't answer you back quick, it's because I'm working because uh, always working. Um, but are you on the fence about culinary school? Like anything holding you back? If you're in school, are you working? Are you not? How are they translating with you guys? Um, is there anything about learning the business side that kind of freaks you out, or yeah. So plenty to talk about. See you guys, and we'll wrap it up with that. So there you go. Culinary school, yes or no, from the line decide, and line cook 101. So this is our first one. We'll get it posted up, and we'll see you guys on the next one. As always, ask questions in the community. If you've got something you want to learn, um, let me know. We'll get after it. But yeah, man, thank you guys. We will talk very, very soon.